Hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Mr. J Geek Corner. Basically, we talk about anything and everything that is geek, whether it be movie, TV, comics, or video games. And this episode right here is probably, and you don't necessarily say it's of a geek matter, but it's something that's really I need to address. The last few days, including this morning, I've been hearing and talking about, y'all probably heard too, talking about sex and violence in PG-13 movies. Well, I know that's a kind of a can of worms kind of subject, but what really bugs me about it is they're on there saying they're almost referring to PG-13 movies as kids movies. What is that? They're talking about sex and violence. When they talk, first 1 minute they're talking about sex and violence and PG-13 movies. Next minute they're referring to it as sex and violence in kids movies. I'm sorry, but when did PG-13 movies start being referred to as kids movies? Is it the point of calling it PG-13? Meaning that they're supposed to be accompanied by an adult, that they can't necessarily be watching it by themselves. I mean, what is with that? I mean, last I saw, movies like Dark Knight. I mean, here's my question: when is the last time Dark Knight was referred to? Dark Knight or Dark Knight Rises or Batman? Any of the Dark Knight trilogy referred to as children's movies? And last time I checked, I know there's a lot. I said it didn't pertain to geek stuff, but it kind of does. Last time I checked, when did any of these Superman? I mean, there's a lot of superhero movies they try to target towards kids. I know, but they rated PG-13 because they have got so much violence in them. But that doesn't mean they're kids movies. What about all these other movies that are PG-13 that ain't superhero movies? Like the ones that's got I mean, it ain't necessarily geek oriented, like Transformers or something, or G.I. Joe or something. I mean, they're comic booky, sci-fi action type movies. And they're PG-13 because they have got so much violence in them. But what about all these other PG-13 movies that aren't action adventure type stuff, and it is rated PG-13? Are those classified as kids movies? They're not kids movies. PG-13 does not mean it's kids. PG-13 strictly means parents strongly caution. That's the definition they have up there. It means nobody under the age of 13 is supposed to be admitted unless they have an adult with them. Last time I checked, that doesn't mean it's strictly a kid's movie. I mean, serious. Why are they? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Is everything that's supposed to be adult supposed to be R-rated? And last I checked, there wasn't that much sexual content in a PG-13 rated movie. It's mostly rated PG-13 because there's either a lot of action in it, a lot of strong thematic elements, violence, or even in some cases tobacco use, which is a stupid excuse to rate PG-13 because they're smoking a cigarette in it. But most of the time, if they got sometimes when they say that they might have the little word suggested things in there, you know what that means? It means somebody might be showing some belly or wearing something low cut. Does that entail sexual content? I don't think so. It just means somebody wearing something a little revealing. But that doesn't entail sexual content. And then they had enough nerve to take a poll on there saying they're more concerned about violence in movies, of kids being exposed to violence, than they are sex. I was like, why are you so concerned? And we go back to my original question. Why are you? I said, this is a debate that's been going down for years, even back when it wasn't so prevalent and everything. When things won't, when things were a little bit more, it was a little bit more, had more leeway in it. And so back in the days when sex and violence weren't so prevalent in movies, there was a time where PG-13 was more like an R rating back in the day. And R was, we won't go into that, but R was more like a NC-17 rating is now. But things are a lot more toned down than they used to be. But they've always been talking about that kind of thing. But it still goes back to my original question. Since when is PG-13 classified as children's entertainment? That's my question. Since when is PG-13 classified as a PG-13 movie classified as a kids movie? That is to me. It just made my head hurt when I watched that. Why? I mean, are they trying to? Pardon my reference here. Are they trying to neuter that too? I mean, seriously, they have PG movies for a reason. That's why they have PG movies, so the kids can have the same feel of a PG-13 movie without all. Like I said, the parents don't want to be too violent. They got the PG movies. There's a reason PG is called PG, because the kids don't exactly know what's going on, and they need the parents and guidance to let them know what in the world's going on. But PG-13 is at parents' risk only. I mean, if you take a kid to a PG-13 movie, there's nothing wrong with that. But it's not a kid's movie. It's a movie you want to take, like if your kid wants to see something like The Avengers. They target that towards young kids. But it's not a kid's movie. It's a movie for really all ages, even though they got a lot of violence and stuff in it. It's still not a kid's movie by definition. It's not a kid's movie. Which leads me to thinking, who is the ignorant person that come up with this? Who is the ignorant person that come up with the banner for that story? And I'm gonna name names here. It was on Good Morning America this morning. They were discussing this. I don't know who particularly come up with it, but it was Good Morning America doing the story. I want to know who, and I heard this a few days ago. They were talking about referring to PG-13 movies as kids movies. Who is the ignorant so-and-so who came up with this? Because they are 100% wrong. This is not, PG-13 movies are not kids movies. Yeah, I'm not saying don't take your kids to them. Depends on what it is. I'm saying if it's like a PG-13 superhero movie that you know ain't nothing wrong with it, take them to it. By all means. But just remember, it's not a kids movie. It's not, by definition, PG-13 doesn't mean kids movie. It may be a movie that's good, that's cool, and kids can see it. It may be suitable for kids, but it's not a kids movie by definition. It's an adult movie that kids can watch. Now, R-rated movie is something altogether. But I don't know what in the world they're doing calling a PG-13 movie a kids movie. To me, that is ignorant. It's stupid. It's another reason to keep trying to turn everything almost into a perpetual walking, living Disney movie. Not everything in the world is Disney, and I'm going to tell you right now. They're griping about PG-13 movies. They're calling them kids movies and saying they have too much violence, too much sex in them and everything. Well, let me tell you this. Disney ain't exactly the saint in the room either. And if you take a real close look at some of these Disney movies, these beloved Disney movies, they got some suggestive stuff in there too. All these good little supposed to be wholesome, G-rated, family-friendly, kid-friendly kids movies that Disney has made. Go back and look through them. I'm not going to name them, but you'll know it when you see it. There's a lot of suggestive content in them too. And I mean stuff dating back into the 90s. And mostly the 90s. I'm going to say that. You look at stuff, I'm okay, I'll name a few movies. Little Mermaid, Lion King. Ones like that. And no, Hunchback of Notre Dame. They've got some suggestive content in them. And even try to slip some bad language in there. I mean, I said, how can they say one and talk about how beloved the Disney movies are just because they're rated G? I said, you can slip stuff into a G-rated movie now. Disney does. Gracie, they slip stuff into a PG movie. They slip language into PG movies. They said, I ain't talking about particular bad language. They slip content and some bad content into PG movies. Why is it just a gripe with a PG-13 movie? That's just another bid to try to almost Disneyfy everything. I'm gonna say it. Disney ain't the good little saint that everybody thinks it is. But bottom line, Disney. Bottom line, PG-13 movies are not kids' movies. They may be suitable for kids. Some may be suitable for kids. Some may not be. But the PG-13 rating does not mean it is a kids' movie. Stop calling them kids' movies. And I'm going to say about superhero movies. Superhero movies, they are rated PG-13. They ain't necessarily kids' movies either. Though they may be suitable for kids. They are not kids' movies. G movies are kids' movies. Even PG movies nowadays are kids' movies. But PG-13 movies are not kids' movies. I don't know why they're doing that. That's a stupid headline for a story. It's a stupid story. To even call them that. It's stupid. It's ignorant. And they should change. I said they won't be concerned about sex and violence in PG-13 movies. Call them PG-13 movies. Don't call them kids movies. Get it right. If you're going to make a discussion, get it right. Otherwise, don't even do the story at all if you're going to go in there half-cocked, misinformed. Just do it right. Instead of calling it something that it's not. And I said before, this it ain't particularly geek oriented, but I just had to get this off my chest because it's just bugging me. It's just aggravating the tar out of me that they would call PG-13 movies kids movies. That puts movies that are definitely not for kids that are PG-13 rated in that category. All these comedies that ain't got kids, that are not exactly for kids, they put just because they're PG-13, they lumping them all in the same thing. Just because most superhero movies are violent, I don't know if they ain't particularly targeting them, but they just lumping all PG-13 movies under the banner of kids movies. It just bugged me, and like I said, it physically made my head hurt. And how frustrated it made me hearing this. It shows you how ignorant a lot of media outlets can be. That they can't even get a simple headline like this right. Seriously. PG-13 rated movies are now considered kids movies to the media. I said, get it right, people. Get it right. Just get it right. You need to change this. referred to as PG-13 movies because that's what they are. They're not kids movies. If you want to talk about PG movies, if you want to talk about kids movies, that's the PGG category. That's a GPG category. PG-13 movies are not kids movies. Some may be suitable for kids, like Man of Steel or Avengers, but there are some PG-13 movies that are not suitable for kids, and therefore not kids movies. I know I sound like I may be talking in circles. I'm sorry, but it just bugs me how ignorant that sounds. Get it right. I said they just need to. The fact that I just. Anyway, I said thank y'all for listening. I'm glad. I hope y'all still with me right now. What do y'all think about all this? Do y'all think of PG-13 movies as kids movies? Am I right? I said, y'all agree with me? Do y'all think what? Y'all think that they're kid classified movies? Hey, just let me know. I would love to hear your comments on this subject. I always drop drop me a comment in the comment box. I would love to hear you. I'd love to hear your take on this. I would really love to hear your take on this. And I guess that's all for this edition of Mr. J's Geek Corner. You know, it ain't been that geek this time. Of the geek persuasion this time. It still falls into that. I guess it still kind of falls into that category. But yeah, so I hope y'all been enlightened by this. And as always, if you have a comment about the show, drop a comment in the comment box. I'd love to hear from you. And if you got any ideas for the show, drop me a comment in the comment box. I'm always looking for fresh new ideas for the show. Always looking for some new, different things to talk about on the show. As I said, inspiration for shows comes from anywhere, even from the one you love. Like I said, so many ideas come from my beautiful wife, TV, and from, and I say, in particular from, and even from anywhere. They come from anywhere, even y'all. Like I said, that's why I say always send in your. Always saying, send me in your ideas. I would love to hear them. And you never know. They may end up being on this. They'll end up becoming an episode of Mr. J's Geek Corner. So, so send me all. So like I said, send me your ideas. I would love to hear them. And I'll see y'all next time.